Hey guys, it's Marlene. In this video, I'm going to be using the L10 to teach you all about photo styles in Lumix cameras. And yes, this works for all Lumix cameras. So if you don't have an L10 yet, you'll still learn something. To get into the photo styles, you hit the menu set button and you go to the top menu of the camera mode. And it's also in the same spot on the video mode. And the top choice is photo style. And when you click photo style, you see that you have all the different photo styles. I also like to set up the photo styles in my quick menu. And that is my preferred place to find it so that I don't have to menu dive. Standard is top of the list, vivid, natural, L Classic Neo, L Classic Gold, flat, landscape, portrait. By the way, I shoot all my YouTube videos of myself in portrait mode. Monochrome, L monochrome D, L monochrome S, Leica monochrome, one of my favorites. Cine like A2, D2, V2, 709, Vlog. Now Vlog is used for video and it is something that you need to color grade. Now, one of the things I love to do is gardening, so I've decided to use some vegetables that I just picked from my garden in this demonstration. And as you can see from this photo of an onion here, this is not my first time shooting my garden vegetables. That's what I love to do in the summer. Besides skateboarding, I love to garden and I often photograph my vegetables. Now, to do the photos, I'm going to be using the LITEMONS LP800 Bi photo panel, and this is a Godox light, and it is a flat panel light, and it's great for product photography. I've used it a few times in the last few months, maybe you noticed. It's very handy as it gives soft, even light, and it's really good for top-down or bottom-up photography, as well if you're perhaps doing vlogging or selfie vlogging. You can just shine it on yourself and use it as a light, a single light. So it's very versatile light, but I'll go over that later. Right now, I want to get into the photo styles. Okay, well, let's set up the scene first here, and I'll just make something hopefully pretty with my vegetables. I like this crinkly lettuce. Maybe I'll make a bed of lettuce. All right, this is quick and dirty, guys. And my scapes. Okay, gotta watch the depth of field here. Okay, let's pop the camera on. Let me move the light on top. There we go. Okay, I'll do a custom white balance. Okay, I'll use this gray card. Hit set, and there we go. So there's my scene, and we're ready to go. You can also make your own photo style based on some of the other photo styles. So let's start with standard, and I want you to see the sidebar here. We have some options. I'm going to put my gray card underneath there. So in standard, you can change your contrast. So to do this, you just arrow down. Contrast can be adjusted. Highlights can be adjusted, shadows can be adjusted, saturation can be adjusted, hue, and if you keep going, you have grain effect, sharpness, and noise reduction. So don't forget there's some options underneath the first window. So if you want less contrast, then you just hit the minus. And if you want more, of course, you hit the plus. Highlight and shadow changes. So let me just go back to here and see if it makes a difference to our scene. So if I want to brighten the highlights or lower the highlights, I can actually see a little bit of a difference in this part of my scene. I'm going to brighten it all the way up, and hopefully you noticed that. Maybe it's too subtle on the video, but I can definitely see it. Shadows, same thing. So if I have a scene where my shadows are too dark, I can brighten them or I can darken them. And wow, I could definitely see it in this area that the shadows were getting darker. Saturation, you can desaturate. So you can see it doesn't go completely desaturated, but it definitely desaturates quite a bit. And you can super saturate. So that's kind of looks like the vivid. Grain effect. So we have the grain effect and we do low. So you have to push the side here. Low, standard, high, and off. So if we have the grain effect on, then you go down to the next menu, it activates the next menu, and you have on and off for the color noise. Sharpness, of course, you can make it super sharp, and you can make it a little bit less sharp. Now, these would apply only to your JPEGs, guys. So, noise reduction, okay, if you're working in a very low light situation, you might want to add noise reduction. On the hue adjustment, it says that if the reference point is red, this rotates the hue towards violet magenta or yellow green to adjust the coloring of the entire image. So let me put hue on here. Okay, we're in the landscape mode and we're going to adjust the hue. And I don't know if you can see it in here, but I can definitely see it's going to yellow on that side. And it's going cooler on that side. I can see it on the white of the image. So I will take a picture. So that's the hue at 5, +5. And here's the hue at -5. And I'm going to do the hue at 0. The adjustments you can make to photo styles completely depends on which photo style you choose. For example, the black and white ones have different filter effects and things that the color ones don't have. So if you don't see anything in the list, then you know that it is not available in that particular photo style. So if you're not sure what is adjusted by each of the settings in the photo styles, all you have to do is look into the camera manual and everything is in there. Yes, I read the camera manual and you should too. One thing I would like to show you is in the monochrome setting, I like to change the color tone. So if you go to the left, you can see that it warms it up and it gets a bit more brown, let's say, more sepia-like. And if you go to the right, it gets cool. So it adds cool color. So say you're photographing black and white scenes in the winter and you want it to look cool, you can bump up the color on your monochrome. But I kind of like shooting black and white with like a -2, and I think that makes an interesting shot. I want to talk about filters for monochrome images, and I'm just shooting this test chart right here so that you can get a variety of colors in the same shot. So first things first, let's change it to the monochrome photo style. And when you're in monochrome, you can see that, of course, you have your adjustments down the side on the right side. And I go down to filter effect. Now that hasn't got anything to do with creative filters. It has to do with colored filters. And colored filters will affect how your black and white image looks, how your monochrome image looks. So maybe you remembered, these are the reds, yellows, green, cyan, magenta, kind of a blue, magenta again, and these are skin tones. So if I change the filter in front, so right now there's no filters, and I add green, look what happened to the greens and the reds. The reds got super dark when I added a green filter. I'm going to take that off, and the green filter didn't change too much, but a lot of the other ones did. What's opposite green? Magenta, which is right here. And there's another magenta-ish down there. And you can see that those colors really changed a lot. Next up, we have red. And red really affected the blues and the cyans. So imagine if this is your sky in a landscape and you're shooting a black and white landscape, and look what happens to your sky. It goes very dark when you add a red filter. And red goes very light. The color red goes light. So it kind of blocks its own color. I mean, that's a really simplified way to say it. It blocks its own color, or it lightens its own color. Orange, okay? orange and red are very close, but this is the orange square. I'm going to go back to red and you can watch that orange square. It got lighter. And with the orange filter, it darkens the orange a bit. And here's your skin tones, which also have a bit of orange in them. And they changed a little bit. What about your blues and cyans? Cyan, cyan, blue, magenta. You can see that putting an orange filter does change them. That's red and that's orange. Next filter is yellow, and yellow is here on the color chart. And if I go turn it off, you can see that it kind of lightens the yellow, and it also affects the greens and things that have yellow in them as well. But I would say the most dramatic filter would be the red, if you're using landscapes, and the green, red and green, because look what green filter does to anything red. So imagine you're photographing a red flower, and it's going to go completely black just about if you add a green filter. And if you're shooting a landscape or a sky or anything with blue in it, and you add a red filter, things are going to also go very dark. So when you're shooting monochrome, just remember that you can adjust in camera, or if you shoot raw, most raw editing softwares allow you to adjust the filters in editing as well. So if I want to keep this photo style in my list of photo styles, I hit the display button, which is over here, and it will save it to my photo style. So I have number 1 here, and I can overwrite whatever number 1 was before. So now when I go through my list, so I'll go back into my photo styles, and you can see here that my one is a black and white one. So there's the LUT, etc. And my one is there. So that's a way to customize your photo styles. I mean, photo styles are pretty easy and pretty fun to play with. But right now, I'm going to take a photo in every photo style to show you what each one looks like. Now, of course, if you shoot raw, you can change this after the fact. However, you will not be able to change your custom photo style. Your custom photo style does not show up in your raw editing software. Okay, I want to show you a couple of more photo style settings that you might want to set up. And what you have to do is go into My Photo Settings menu, and that's under the gear icon. And say you don't use all your photo styles. What you can do is get rid of some of the ones or turn them off, the ones that you typically don't use. And for me, that is hybrid log gamma. I definitely wouldn't use that one. And you can see here that you can actually add up to 10 specific photo styles. Even only 4 of them right now are turned on. So yeah, you can choose the ones that you're most likely to use with each different camera that you have, because some cameras I would definitely use V-Log and probably wouldn't with the L10 because I just use it mainly for photos. Another menu in here is My Photo Style Settings. So you can actually put your ISO and your white balance right into your photo style. So here's your ISO and your white balance. So let's say you make a custom photo style for, let's say, shooting astrophotography, and you always start at this same white balance, same photo style, and same ISO. And you can put all of that into a photo style so that every time you go to a scene, especially if you shoot in the same area over and over, it is a good starting point. So you can load up your photo style with other things besides the color. So something to keep in mind. For me, I probably wouldn't use these even for Astro. I probably would set up a custom mode for Astro, which would have a white balance and an ISO set up in there as a starting point, because it would probably be easier to change. Your mileage may vary. Okay, now we're going to talk about real-time LUTs. So if you push the LUT button, when you initially set it up, it says download the app, and you can do that on your phone or your iPad, and you can load up LUTs inside your camera. So you can make your own or load up some that people have already uploaded to the Lumix lab. So there's some sample LUTs built in, 3 of them, and I'm just going to use those right now. But you can see that if your photo styles aren't enough for you, you can upload LUTs. And LUTs are almost like filter effects. There's LUTs for video and for photos. Now, when you go into your photo styles, so let's go into photo styles, you can see here that it says LUT. So the LUT is loaded. If you don't want to use the LUT, just cycle over to another one of the photo styles. But if you want to go straight into the LUT and load the LUT, you press the LUT button and it will put whatever LUTs you have, you will be able to choose from them. So basically you can get to it from the photo style menu or through just pushing the LUT button. So if I push it again, it tells me to download the LUTs, and I can try the sample LUTs in camera, which I did. But to get out of that again, you see that it defaults back into LUT. So you'll have to go out of there if you want to go back into your photo styles. Now, this one, it says mono, and it has an adjustment. So let's put that one back into its normal mode. So I've got -2 set up in my monochrome mode, so I'm going to just go back to normal with that one. Anyway, make sure that if you have a Lumix camera that you play with your photo styles, and let me know in the comments which is your favorite. So right now you can see that the scene is only lit by this panel, but I happen to have some fill here, a little reflective panel, collapsible. So if I put this up here, you can see that it kind of fills in the shadow side of my face. You can change the color temperature of this light as well as the brightness of it. So it's very simple controls. It is AC only, so you plug it into the wall. It doesn't have any USB battery operated parts to it. So it's meant for indoor and really good for studio stuff. And I'll just show you what the camera looks like when it's lit by this light. In fact, I think I'm going to zoom in. Hang on. I just want you to see what it looks like with this flat panel light on it. So it's very bright, but I don't know, for some things I think it could work really well. And one of those things, vegetables. The LITEMONS LP800 Bi from Godox ships with a light stand. So it's ready to go right out of the box. Well, I think it's time that I make myself a salad or have some ice cream with those strawberries. What do you think?